Well, hello everyone. This is Chrystal Lynn, Cowgirl Astrologer, and I want to thank you for joining me this evening. I just want to come on tonight, see how you guys are doing, talk about the astrological weather, what is going on up in the sky, and give you guys some updates to what's going on in this channel and what's coming your way. So, there is so much going on up in the sky that I was really, looking at so many storylines that are playing out. And when this happens, it can be hard to really capture the essence. So I'm going to attempt to try to do that a little bit tonight, talk about what's going on and why. Why is it important for us to take a look at the astrological weather? A lot of people may not realize how powerful it is to understand the energy that's going on around you. Because when we're able to do that, we're really able to time things out in our lives a little bit better. We're able to plan. We're able to take the breaks when we need to. We're able to understand maybe what's going on, inside of us. And sometimes when, things are really bumpy up in the sky, it can be confusing for us. And we can spend a lot of time kind of in this state of being confused. But when you understand what's going on, at least for me, it allows me to ride the wave a little better. And it allows me to time things and to understand that each season, each cycle is so important and not to miss out, hopefully, on the lesson that we can learn from. So let's see what we can learn tonight. First of all, I want to say happy birthday, Libra. Finally, we're moving out of this intense Virgo energy that we've been in for a very long time, as you know, and I've talked about it in my previous video. So now we're moving into Libra land. And for those of you, obviously, who know, Libra is ruled by Venus. Now, Venus is really all about love and relationships and fairness and bringing beauty and harmony into our world. It also, when we look at our Libras, they have an amazing ability to value art, artistic people. They love those things because it creates an energy around them that's happy, and I think, it's so easy to get caught up in all the things that are going on in the world and forget that, we can enjoy life. We can find ways to enjoy life. And Venus is all about that. It also, Venus also rules the musical side of us. A lot of Libras have incredible voices and love music. And I think that this is a month that, to really capture the essence and the power of this energy, for us to play a lot of music and to look around us and look around the vibrations around us and to really realize that often the outer settings of our life can influence us and can change our moods. So Libra knows all about that. It's also about relationships. When you finally come to the place, Libra rules the 7th house, where you're blending relationships together. And that can be very challenging because, right? You know who you are, and we all have this need, this desire built within us to want to share who we are with somebody else, whether it's friendships, business, love relationships. Because when we do that and we exchange energy together, there's something really amazing that happens that we can't do by ourselves. Now, we also have Jupiter that has just moved into Libra on September 9th. And this is a one-year transit. So as we move into the month of October, we are going to be, experiencing this sun Jupiter conjunction. Okay. Now, Jupiter is all about expansion. Jupiter is all about bringing good, you know, blessings. I mean, if we want to use the word luck, but it's just this protection. It's this focus, and it's this teaching us how to do it. What is it going to teach us to do? It's going to teach us how to have relationships. Jupiter takes 1 year to get around the sun, so the last time we have seen Jupiter in Libra was back in like 2004, 2005. So, if you want to really understand astrology, you can look back 12 years ago and ask yourself what was going on in your life. Now, when the sun and Jupiter are in this conjunction, it creates a lot more power. Now, the sun, we know kind of represents that ego and, our mission and, what it is we're here to do. And with Jupiter there, it's going to really expand that around relationships. We also have Mercury that has just moved direct in Virgo. Excuse me. Thank goodness. Mercury in Virgo retrograde was pretty intense. I don't know about you guys. I am a Virgo, so I really felt this a lot. I dealt with all the, electronic stuff, the no phone, the car, the computer stuff. I got hit pretty hard this time. But, there's something about when Mercury comes into our lives and opens up our minds and helps us to see the details. When it goes retrograde, it helps us to go more inward. And it helps us to really think about things that maybe we're just too busy doing. And for me, having the phone and the computer and the car, of course, they're necessities, yes. But by those things, not being at my, beck and call, it really forced me to have to take some time and to really look at my life and slow things down a little bit. So I really believe retrogrades are very important, not something to fear, something to accept. There are definitely frustrations that we've all been coming through. But at the same time, this has been a time that we've all really, really, really had to look within. We just passed through 2 eclipses. Well, we actually had a third kind of mini eclipse in August, but we also passed through this Virgo Pisces eclipse, and I've talked about this in some of my other videos. So our world is really unsettled right now. We're all kind of coming through this period where, things have been shook up, and often the universe shakes things up in our life to get us back on track to where we're supposed to be. And I think that we often get so distracted, get so caught up in so many other things, get in our own heads, we get going, creating our own stories that often, aren't based in the reality of what's happening. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I'm hoping that it will. And right now, I really believe that we're coming through kind of that eye of the needle. And again, coming through another time where we're able to see very clearly, where we're having to really look at what's important, what do we value. We're having to look at our relationships. We're having to look at ourselves, where we're putting out our energy. We each have a very special, I believe, calling in life. And, that can get distorted in a way that people can think they have such a calling in life that, they're not good for anything on this earth. They have their own grandiose concept. But I do really believe that we all do have a special calling. And often people never stay on that path to get there, to really be in that fulfillment. And there's so many things that can get us off that path. And right now, more than ever, you know, these energies are helping us get clearer and clearer to what our path is. Now, we're just coming out, we're at the tail end of Mars in Sagittarius at 27 degrees. Mars is really the energy that fuels the fire behind the scenes for all of us. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. It also is the sign of the professor, of the world renowned, of the person that, has studied, that really knows and mastered the skill. It is a competitive sign because they do want to be the best. All the fire signs are competitive in their own way. And I think the last few months, we've all been kind of in this place where it's like, hey, am I willing to give up who I am? Do I know who I am? What am I here to do? And kind of been fighting for that place. And that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. Because often, it's like, I'm kind of skirting around some honest conversations because I'm not sure, how everybody wants to really get honest. How everybody wants to look at the truth. But in our day and age, there's very few people that will do the work necessary, that will fight for what they believe in, that really are willing to look at their intentions in what they're doing. And to rise above and to handle this high vibration that we're in, okay? And, Neptune and Pisces in the background is making this spiritual vibration so high. We're being forced, again, I say forced, but how about invited? That would be a better word. We're being invited to really get authentic. And we're not seeing a lot of that out there, are we? We're seeing everybody really fighting against each other. We're seeing these issues come up because, again, looking at astrology and looking at the storylines, Uranus and Aries in the background, Aries is very combative. Aries rules, our police force, our military, the front lines. Aries also rules identity. So when you look at the big picture, when you take a big screenshot of what's going on, the big picture right now is relationships, is looking with a detailed eye, is finding out what's important, is finding out how we can be productive, what is necessary, cutting the wheat from the chaff, and really looking, separating the goats from the sheep, and that's the Virgo energy we've been in. Sagittarius is about claiming who you are, the master of who you are. And Neptune and Pisces is about authenticity. So you have these themes playing out in the background, and then we have to try to figure out down here on Earth how we can get in rhythm and get in timing and learn the lessons from these things. So that's a lot to juggle. And Mercury has just moved direct, like we're in that stationary place. So you can see my mind's kind of struggling to bring this video out to you guys, and yet so easy to go, waiting for the perfect moment that I can express all of this. But I think it's also really important, authenticity, to come out and say, hey, yeah, I'm struggling with all of this too. I'm struggling with how to put all this together as well. We're getting ready for Mars to move into Capricorn, okay, on September 27th. That will continue until November 9th, all right? We also are getting ready for Pluto in Capricorn to move direct. Okay, so we've got two big heavy hitters now getting ready to come into the storyline. We should know by now. Who are you? Mars and Sagittarius. We should know by now. What is your skill? What are you here to master? What are you here to do? Are you claiming that? Are you willing to give that up? Are you willing to get lost in the background? Again, new. You're not. So now we're going to move into a very intense October, November, because Mars and Pluto together in Capricorn are going to really bring in a different type of energy. Now we're into some serious climbing the mountain. Now, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and we all know about Saturn. Saturn is about reality. Saturn is about, again, taking the fluff out in our lives and really getting us on track. And really, when you look at the Capricorn, the symbol of the Capricorn is the seahorse. And the seahorse really represents the spiritual and the material world coming together. Okay? Capricorns get a bad rap because of their intense ambition and their ability to climb that mountain, to step over the dead bodies, to get in that power position that they need to get in. But you have to understand the Capricorn. The Capricorn also knows that without the foundation and without building the empire, that it cannot help, it cannot do the work it needs to do. Somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to do it. The struggle for the Capricorn is juggling the spiritual side with the material side. Okay? Juggling that, because in that pursuit of climbing the mountain, it can be easy to step on people and not have that compassion that you need to have for people along the way. It can be very detached. Now, when Mars moves into Capricorn, it's exalted. Mars likes to be in Capricorn because it can get a lot of work done. It doesn't have to deal with really, electric energy or overly fiery energy. It's already fiery, but it kind of gets in a groove with Capricorn. Capricorn energy is that one step at a time. It also rules money. All right. So the next 2 months, now that we've come out of, the eclipses, come through the eclipses, and we've come through who we are. We've come through, dealing with our identity. We're looking at relationships. Now it's going to be about exchanging energy, financial energy. Our time is going to be accounted for, not wasting time, because Saturn, again, ruling Capricorn, does not like to waste time. You might start feeling a little more detached or wanting to be detached from all the emotional things that are going on around you. It's kind of no nonsense. And it's necessary. It's necessary for all of us right now. It's about building the foundation, the new foundation. We've had a lot of systems that have been breaking down, okay, Pluto and Capricorn, all right, breaking down old foundations, spiritual, religious, political. Look around the world. Never before have we seen what we're seeing right now, politically, religiously, spiritually, in the family dynamics, okay? There is a lot of things that we have to deal with that we've never had to deal with before. It's like walking on, it's like being on another planet, really. And we're being taught how to do it. Part of the problem is we want to hang on to old systems, don't we? We want to hang on to what's familiar. Capricorn likes what's familiar. It likes routine. It likes to compartmentalize its world. You know, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. It can be very controlling because it doesn't like radical change. It wants to know exactly what's going on. There can be a lot of anger in this energy because of the fact that it's, you know, it is so strict and structured that when anything is, it feels out of its control, you know, the anger comes out. And so with Mars there, we have to remember we may be feeling more intense, more angry, more, you know, fighting for our little worlds, our little empires. And so a lot of people may not understand that. You may not feel like I don't, you know, understand that in my world. But we do have to understand that it's one person at a time. It's one life at a time. It's one empire at a time. Our little realms of influences. We all have our own little empires, our little homes, our lives, our businesses that we create. And for many, many people, getting back to kind of trying to be honest, we've seen the breakdown of our homes, of our financial worlds, of our families. We've seen the breakdown of family structures, you know, relationships, children, you know, being caught up in these breakdowns. And Pluto, okay, I know I'm going all over the place, but hang with me, you guys. Astrology is not easy. There's a lot of layers to it. So to try to put it in some type of, you know, picture that we can understand, you know, it takes a little bit to try to understand yourself. But Pluto is about death, about resurrection, about rebirth. Okay, it's about that transformation. So how do we now take every lesson that we've learned up till now? You know, a lot of us have, you know, dealing with the aftermath of destruction in our lives or in other people's lives around us, and begin to rebuild. What happens right now, this is just a little tip, with Mars moving into Capricorn, is going to give you a little clue into the themes that could potentially play out in your life when Saturn does move into Capricorn in 2018. Okay, all of these little things are in preparation. So what, you know, what are we building? It is the time to be a little more detached and a little bit more structured. But remember, because it tries to balance the spiritual and material world, we have to also have grace. Capricorn energy sometimes doesn't deal well with having grace because, again, they feel like it has to be this way and there's no room for grace. But if we don't give a little grace in our relationships, along with counting the cost and setting the structure, it's going to be off balance. When Jupiter, as it is, getting ready to move into Libra, as it's just moved in, Jupiter often comes in with the bang and sometimes blows things up in our life before it begins to really fix it or heal it. So our relationships are on the table right now. Our relationships are on the table right now. Jupiter wants to bring healing. Okay, Jupiter wants to bring healing and teach us about how to have a more quality and higher level of relationships, more productive relationships. But Jupiter is also going to expand the areas of our life in our relationships that aren't working. All right. So how do we put all this together? How do we look at all this and really begin to walk in this new light, walk on this new path? I think honesty is important. And when we start looking at honesty, we have to get honest within ourselves. And the only way to really get honest within yourself is to really know yourself. You know, so many times, you know, and Libra energy is a perfect example of this need for harmony at all costs, and often putting yourself aside, often not wanting to rock the boat, often taking the brunt of things so that you don't have to ruffle anybody else's feathers. That's not going to work now, okay? That's not going to work anymore. You know, it's like the two scales, you know, and they're just, you've got it all balanced out perfectly, right? You're just hanging by a thread there, don't move, everything's balanced out, and you know, you're gonna have to set off the balance, and you put that one little dot, one little rock, one little stone, and boom, okay? And when that happens, it just feels really uncomfortable, especially for those of you who have a lot of Libra in your chart. You know what I'm talking about. So this is a very, very important time right now to understand that it is actually okay to throw things off balance a little bit in your life. If things are getting stagnant, or if you've been holding back your truth to make everybody else okay, you know, that feeling is going to brew. That feeling is going to stir up in you. With Mars and Capricorn there, that need for, you know, I'm not going to put up with anything that gets in my way to climb the mountain that I've been called to do. If we don't live to our fullest potential, the one that we've been called to live to, if we don't pursue that fullest potential that was created for us the minute we came into this earth, there was a path laid out for us. If we don't live in that, we don't offer, you know, we don't contribute to the universe in the way that we were created to do that. And not only do we miss out, but the people around us miss out. And if you have relationships in your life that are pulling you away, draining you, trying to kick your foot from behind you so you'll fall, keeping you off your path, then you're not doing yourself or them any justice. You're not serving any justice by allowing that. Okay? There's a lot of dysfunctional relationship situations going on out there because of the fact that Pluto has been in Capricorn, not only rebuilding structures, like I said before, around us, but it's also rebuilding the way we've done relationships. And it's blowing things up. And as it moves direct with Mars, I mean, that's going to be pretty heavy-duty stuff here. What areas of your life is it going to bring to the surface? Are you ready? Are you prepared? You already have the message. The message, as Mercury has been in retrograde in Virgo, we've already, the last 3 weeks, been getting the message of what we need to do. What's not working? How many times are we going to repeat the same cycles? And I think that we often repeat the same cycles because, you know, we're not paying attention to what happens before what happens, and we don't have a strong enough structure of who we are. People who have confidence, people who know who they are, people who have success, most people really resent those people because it forces them to look at what they're not doing, or maybe what they don't have, or what they haven't worked for. Very few people will get in there and do the hole digging, okay? And Mars and Pluto and Capricorn is all about, you know, plowing the field. Everybody wants to pick the fruit off the trees, right? Everybody wants to, you know, pick the goods, but who wants to actually do the hole digging? Who wants to actually do what it takes to get there? A lot of people sit back and wait for other people to do it, and then they want to jump on board. And I think it's important that we start looking at people's intentions, that we start looking at, who we allow into our lives. Are they willing to pick up the, get in the trenches with you? Are they willing to do the work? I think it's important to look at that, because if you have this mission, have this dream, and you're not careful, you become targeted. And Jupiter in Libra right now is going to explode those things. So we have to get really honest, you guys. We have to get really honest and really look at our relationships, really look at the structures of them, and also realize, Saturn ruling Capricorn is about time spent, and it is about money. We're coming into a new period of time that money has a different meaning. And I'm still trying to figure out what that all is too. From my generation, we all, learned, we were from that Pluto and Virgo generation where, you work with your hands and you work and, you exchange. We live in a different world right now. We live in a world that we can express ourselves to millions and billions of people through the internet, that we can share our message, that we can share our product, and we can build a foundation in a completely different way. But money really is about energetic exchange. And, if you're putting out a lot of energy and not getting that energetic exchange, something's off balance. Something's off balance. What is it? So these are the things we're going to be looking at, right? There's a lot to look at here. So I just encourage everybody right now to really spend that time. As everything starts to move direct, we won't be as introverted. So it's going to be about actually putting action to our thoughts. Don't be afraid that you're going to hurt other people. Speak your truth. Expect other people to rise to your expectations. And you can only expect people to rise to the expectations that you live by. So if you have high expectations for yourself, expect others to live by those expectations. Don't do all the work. Allow other people to step in. Allow other people to do the job. This is about looking at issues like enabling. Jupiter and Libra all year long is going to have these themes. What areas are not fair? And being able to rock the boat. Rock the boat, baby, just a little bit. And shift the balance, because when you rock the boat, you'll find a new balance. So don't be afraid. At the same time, you don't want to go in and blow up everything, but, it's about making changes, because if we do the same thing over and over again, we will have the same cycles happening all over again. So if you want to change the things in your life, you have to look at the patterns. Where do they start? You have to be willing to look at the foundation of them. So that's what we're being asked to do right now as we move in to this next 2 months. Hopefully you've been preparing yourself and you're on timing with this rhythm, and that you're ready to go. The next 2 months, I'm building certain things with the business and finally putting, some real solid foundation together. I've been waiting for this time. I allowed Mercury and Virgo to allow me to think when it was retrograde about all the details that it's going to take. I didn't have the energy allowing me to do it during that time. So now, as we move forward, okay, just like all of you, it's about now putting action and really looking at what it's going to take to do what you need to do, whether it's for your family, for your job, in your relationships, getting honest. Okay? So that's just a few things to think about, you guys. I'd love any comments. Let me know how you're feeling about this energy. How did you guys do with the eclipses? And just to end with a few short, brief updates. During Mercury retrograde, I was receiving many of your questionnaires for the Time Twin study. I'm still working on that behind the scenes. For those of you who have not heard about my Time Twin study, I do have a video, I'll post it below, that I am just doing a research about people born on the same day, also looking at people born during the same week or during astrological time frames. I'm already seeing some really, really interesting parallels. And I'm looking for people born, to really get that Time Twin stamp that have the same ascendant. Obviously, there's no two people exactly alike, so there'll be different degrees in the ascendant, but looking at life paths and storylines and, the differences. So people are asking me, well, what are you looking for? It's like, well, you know what? I'm laying it all on the table and seeing what speaks to me. This is a research for all of us to know more about. And I do have a few things starting to come together as far as finding some people. I have not announced that yet because I'm still waiting for everything to come in. If you have not, or if you do want to participate, email me at crystallyn68@gmail.com. Sorry about that. And also, being that this is Jupiter and Libra year and it's Libra season, I am now offering synastry and composite chart readings to my website. That's something I'd love to do. And I also will do this in an audio video. Okay, so you can go to my website, and basically what it is taking 2 birth dates, whatever relationship you would like to look at. This could be mother-daughter, sister-sister, sister-brother, marriage, whatever relationship that you want to take a look at. Synastry allows me to see what brought you together, or the similarities, the compatibility, how this relationship plays out through communication. The composite chart is so exciting because it takes the 2 dates and finds the midpoint. And in the midpoint, it really gives us the theme and the mission and the future of the relationship. Also, when you know your composite chart, you can then also watch for transits that are going to change and bring out different aspects of that life theme. And it allows us to look, is this a long-term relationship? Is this somebody that's come into your life for a short period of time? And people ask me those questions all the time. Is it the soulmate? Those are things that I can see. So I will have details on my website more about that. And I've done a lot of these compatibilities and looking of people I know of their relationships, and it is amazing what we can come up with through this. So, and obviously a lot of you guys have come to me for that. On the side, I just haven't advertised it very specifically. So now I'm going to be advertising it more specifically. There we go. Mars and Capricorn, building the foundation of what I'm doing. So I hope it inspires and encourages you to build the foundation for what you're doing. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and we will see you soon.